Okay, so again, today is our review day. We're going to do some word problems. We've done word problems before. We're just going to do more with it today. So we have a warm-up over our standard form from last time. Instead of doing a mini quiz, we have our warm-up. Then we'll do some word problems, and then your homework for tonight is the review packet. So test is next class. And just a reminder, you do need your laptop for that. So what I was telling Eric is that the line of best fit problems you need Desmos for. So you're not going to have your laptop out the whole time. You'll be called back just a couple at a time to do just that portion of the test on the laptop, and then you'll go back and continue working on the rest of the test. So make sure you have your laptop so you can do Desmos with that. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at our warm-up, refreshing our memories with standard form. This is what your homework was on. All right, so just a reminder that standard form, if you have equations starting out, then all you have to do is get rid of fractions, decimals, and make sure your A is positive. Get it in the right order. If they don't give you an equation, you have to first write the equation. All right, so standard form, go ahead and write this at the top. AX plus BY equals C. You have to remember what standard form is. That won't be given to you, so you have to know that. And there are no fractions or decimals. No fractions or decimals. And A must be positive. So number one, it says write it in standard form with integer coefficients. That just is a reminder that we can't have fractions or decimals. And just a reminder for you guys, you should have earbuds out, phones off and away. I can see earbuds hiding behind hair. Katia, get the earbuds out. Anthony, I see them in your hood. Get your hood down and earbuds out, please. Okay. So we want to get rid of our fractions here, and so we want to just multiply by whatever's in the denominator. Now there's two different numbers. Just do the larger one first. Sometimes we'll get rid of both, sometimes not. So I'm going to just multiply both sides by 5. And what we get over here is negative 5 halves y.
Wait, do you multiply by whichever denominator is bigger or which fraction is bigger?
The denominator. Which denominator? I'm going to distribute my 5 over here, and we get negative 2x plus 3x. Always use your calculator to help you out. I'm just going to go and do the math mentally to make this go a little faster. So that got rid of one of our fractions, but we need to get rid of the other fraction. So let's go and multiply by that denominator on both sides. So over here we get negative 5y. And you again have to distribute, so I get negative 4x plus 70. So now there's no fractions, no decimals. Awesome. We just need to get it so x comes first, then y, then c. So I'm going to go and move my 4x over. So I get positive 4x, negative 5y. No fractions, no decimals, and my very first one is positive. All right, questions with that? When we have decimals, just multiply by 10 or 100 or 1,000. If you're not sure, just multiply by 10 and do it again and again until you get rid of your decimals. Here, though, I see that there's 2 after the decimal place. Since I multiply by 10, I'm going to multiply by 100. Do on both sides. And so we get 60x equals 213y plus 184.
How do you know when to multiply by hundreds or tens?
So if there's just 1 after the decimal place, then just think 1 0 and multiply by 10. If there's 2 after the decimal place, 2 zeros multiplied by 100. If there's 3 after the decimal place, 3 zeros by 1,000. If you're not sure, just multiply by 10. If there's still a decimal, multiply by 10 again until they go away. Okay, so now I just need it in this form. I already have my x on the left, so I just need to subtract my y. And again, we want to keep x first, so I have 60x minus 213y equals 184. No fractions, no decimals, x is positive.
What do you have to multiply, if it's a negative, you multiply by -1, right, to get it
Yeah,
positive?
just multiply everything by negative.
Even the number next to the equal C?
Everything in the equation. Yes,
Does it matter whatever you get rid of?
no matter what.
Whatever you get rid of is
Here we're just trying to get rid of the decimals, and so you just want to make sure in the end you don't have any decimals left in the equation. All right. Now those ones are nice because you don't have to find the equation starting out. But numbers 3 and 4, they make you find the equation. So these ones kind of require a bit more work. They did not give me the equation. So that means we have to come up with the equation. So we're going to start off by doing y equals mx plus b. And then we want to get that into our standard form ax plus by equals c. So this is just using what we've learned before and then changing it to standard form. Alright, so here they gave us x, they gave us y, they gave us m, we don't know b. So I'm just going to put into my equation, instead of y I have -7 equals m, God bless you, 4, x is 6, b I don't know. So I'm just taking what I know, plugging it in, and now I can solve for b. What is 4 times 6?
24. Then you would do -24, right?
Yeah, so now we're going to solve for b. So I want to get rid of my 24, so -24. And that gives us -31 is b. Awesome. So now I have my b value, I have my m value, so I can go and put it into my equation here. So I have, let's zoom that over here. Y equals my slope, which is 4, x, and my b value, which is -3.
But it's asking for standard, right?
It's true. It's asking for standard. So we did that so we can have an equation. Now we just have to switch it to standard form. So I've already got my y on the left side. I need to move my x over though. So let's subtract our 4x. And again, x comes first, so I have -4x. Then my y, it's a positive y. Then equals c, which is -3.
So you have to multiply by 24, right, to get rid of it?
Just -1. Just
Oh,
negative.
-1.
Yeah, so we got rid of our fractions and our decimal, or we don't have any fractions and decimals, which is great. But we do have this negative in front, so we need to get rid of that negative and just multiply everything by -1. And again, I have to distribute that, so I get positive 4x, -y equals positive 31. And you'll notice all that simply does is just change your signs for each of them. So you already knew from before how to get this y equals mx plus b. So you just do that, and then we add on the step of getting it.
Could there ever be a time where x is 0?
Yeah, so it's possible that x is 0, then your equation would just be -y equals 31 or y equals -31. If x is 0, like if we don't have a slope here, then you don't write it. It's possible that you don't have it.
It could be like just y equals.
Yeah, so it'd be an example of like the Vox or Hoy. If you think about it, Hoy is y equals like y equals 5. That's technically in standard form. You're just going to export. Alright, so then number 4, again we have to write an equation, but they didn't give me slope this time. So now I have to find slope. So y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So first I have to find my slope.
We do -2 and -1.
-2 minus 1 over 4 minus 4. So this is the next one.
So you get -3x.
Get -3 on top. 4 minus 4 gives us 0. Ooh, what do we say when we have a 0 in the denominator? Undefined, good. So then we're like, wait a second, what do we do with that? Anytime you get a slope of 0 or slope of undefined, you should think Vox versus Hoy. Which one has the undefined in it?
Vox.
Vox. Okay. So Vox means it's a vertical line with undefined slope, and our equation is just x equals. So we just have x equals, and our x value is 4. There's no y, so you don't have to worry about it.
Wait,
We're done. I have my x on the left. There's no y to have on the left. I have my constant on the right.
so if you get a 0 as a denominator, it's automatically x equals something. But which point did you pick?
What's your x value? It's 4 in both of them.
Or could you pick either one?
Yeah, because you're just looking at your x value.
So if
Same
like
for
the
both.
other x was like 3,
Then you wouldn't get an undefined slope. You only get undefined slope when your x's are the same. Because what happens is then if they're the same, you subtract them, what do you get?
Yes,
0, which is what gives you that number. Yes, ma'am.
What if it was like the other way around where the 0 was on top, which is 5?
Yeah, so if it was 0, let's say that it was 0 over negative 3. 0 divided by negative 3 is 0, which would mean we would do 4. 0 slope, which is y equals, and then whatever your y value is. It would be the same y value for both of them.
Will there be questions like that on the test, or is it only going to be the ones with this level?
Oh, no, you could also have Hoy. Bucks and Hoy can appear the whole year. Now, if this wasn't a nice Bucks or Hoy, then after you found your slope, then you'd go back to doing what we did over here for number 3. Once you found your slope, then you plug it in with the point, find your v, you write the equation for the standard line. It's nice when it's Bucks or Hoy because we're done. Okay. So that's just a recap from last time. Again, instead of doing a mini quiz, we just want to do a warm-up on that. Just a refresher for your test next class. And then we're going to do a little bit with word problems. And just a reminder that your test is next class. So your homework is the review packet. Now remember, the answer key for the review packet is posted where?
Blackboard.
Blackboard. So once you do your review packet, check it with the answers on Blackboard. So that way you know if you need to ask questions to make sure you get that right before I start on the test.
Are we doing a new like topic in it?
We've done word problems before, so we're just doing more with word problems today. So it's not.
Is this like a review of everything?
This is just a little bit more with word problems. The review pack will be the review of everything. So when we did word problems before, we typically just had one rate where it's like apples are $5 a pound, and suppose about $20 of groceries. You got 5 pounds of apples, how much did you pay by? Today we're looking at apples are $5 a pound and oranges are $3 a pound. So we have 2 rates. So it's the same as we did before with word problems, it's just now we have 2 rates instead of just one. All right, so number 15 should be coming back to you. Is there one that did not get worksheet 15? Okay, is that extra? Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna do a little bit more with word problems, but I'm gonna have us go and take a brain break, and I'm gonna have you assemble your notebook. So that's one less thing you have to do next class on test day. So go ahead and assemble your notebook. I'm gonna go ahead and pass out the review packet to you as well, so you can go and put that in the right order for your notebook. It's worksheets 1 through 16.
Wait, I got a question.
So mini quizzes, I don't have the number quizzes. Mini quizzes you don't have to worry about in the quiz. You can just go on for it. I mean, if you want to put them over, you can. But I'm not going to be checking them.
Nice. What if we checked out things on the assignment sheet, but you lost the trick?
You mean you lost your assignment sheet with the number grades on?
Yeah.
So do you think you might be able to work with it? Or is it gone?
Work.
So look for it. If you find it, then I can but if it's gone forever, then just make sure you put on your assignment sheet, like, put a note of which homework sheet you have. You can still get it on that assignment sheet.
But like, what if we don't, even if we staple like all the papers together, what if we don't copy the papers?
You can check see if there's copies in the bin or get it from Blackboard. Any extra copies I have it in the bin. It's just a first come, first serve. But everything's up on Blackboard. You need to get it from there. All right, so again, your notebook, we've got numbers 1 through 16. Go ahead and get those in order. Your mini quizzes are not a part of the notebook this time, so if you want to throw them in there, you can, but you don't have to. And which I think is have your mini quiz for you once. Make sure your review actually gets saved, but I'm coming across a couple where the copier missed the first page. Alright, so everybody didn't get worksheet 16. So again, go ahead and put your papers in order, 1 through 16. Your assignment sheet on top. 16 is your homework for tonight. So if you want to keep that separate, you don't want to staple it just yet, that's fine. And I'll pass around staplers for you guys. And while you're doing that, I'll go ahead and pass back your mini quizzes. Okay, so number 15, again, we're just doing more with word problems. So nothing crazy from before. A lot of the same stuff that we've done before with word problems, but after your actual seat, go to your actual seat. So again, nothing different from your word problems before, it's just now we have more than one rate. So before we were sticking with just one rate, like we would say a phone plan was, let's say 10 cents a minute and $20 flat fee a month. Or we talked about like the amusement park. You go to amusement park, it costs $5 to park and then $10 per person. So that was one rate where each person had to pay an amount. So now we're going to take a look at when we have two rates, how do we do that? Okay, so just a reminder, nothing has changed. Our phone should still be off and away. Right, Alan? Thank you.
Oh, these go also in the...
The mini quizzes don't have to be in the notebook this time. You can put them in if you want, but I'm not checking for them. But if you want to put in there just so it's all together, that's fine. Okay. So again, we're going to do our word prompts here, and then your homework is to work on the review packet. Check that with the key on Blackboard, and come prepared for test next class. And what else are we bringing with us to class on Thursday?
Computers.
Laptops, fully charged. Okay, so before we were just doing one rate, and that was often in slope-intercept form. So just remember that's our y equals mx plus b. Now we're going to have somewhere there's two rates, and when we have two rates, that means that we're doing standard form. Ax plus by equals c. So remember, a rate, some of the key words that kind of indicate a rate is the words per. So it's like apples are $2 per pound each. Admission to the park is $5 for each person. So those are kind of some key indicators that you're going to have a rate. So again, a rate is where we have that amount multiplied by a variable. So you can see for our first one, n times x, that was our rate there. But for standard form, we have a times x, that's one rate, and b times y is another rate. All right. So first one, a phone company charges a base fee of $30 for your phone, plus $10 per gigabyte of data. Okay, so per gigabyte, this is one of our rates here. Write an equation that models the cost of your phone bill. Okay, so it says it charges $30 base fee. What does that mean, a base fee? What does that mean if it's a base fee? Yeah, it's just a one-time fee, right?
Yeah.
We're not paying it again and again, it's just a flat amount, and then the amount we're paying again and again is $10 per gigabit. Okay, so we only have one rate here. So if we only have one rate, we're gonna use slope intercept form.
So if you have more than 2 rates, it's standard form.
So 2 rates is gonna be standard form, we won't give you 3.
Oh, okay.
Because then we're gonna be working the z-axis, and you don't wanna, you're not gonna, don't worry, no. Okay, that's like 10 years down. Alright, so we're doing our slope intercept form. Now our rate is $10 per gigabyte. So I'm gonna let x equal gigabyte. Gigabyte.
So dy
If you want to call it g, you can, but. So y equals 10x
plus 30.
plus 30. Flat amount of 30, here's my rate, minus x%. Okay, so there's our equation. How much would it cost to use 3.5 gigabytes of data? Alright, which variable represents those gigabytes again? X. So we're saying x equals 3.5. So we're just going to go ahead and plug that in. Y equals 10 times 3.5 plus 30. Alright, so we get 35 plus 30. 65. And what are we talking about again? We're talking about cost, right? So 65 what? Dollars, right? It's cost for a phone plan, $65.
How much would it cost? 3.5.
So it's going to cost $65 if you use 3.5 gigabytes of data.
Yeah.
Does anyone use that much data anymore?
Yeah. Use more. 50, about 50.
People have
50 gigabytes?
unlimited.
If you have unlimited, you can go beyond 50. Usually 50, like,
I think my plan is 5 and I never use all of it.
you're not on your phone at all.
It's true. I'm doing work, you know, like grading mini quizzes. Okay, so $65. Okay, question to number 1. So one rate, slope intercept. All right, number 2. Gabby had, oh, hey Gabby, here you go. We're missing a V, but that's all right. Gabby had $75 to spend on socks and boots for winter. Okay, there you go. Socks are $5 each and boots are $20 each. For an equation, describe the situation. All right, so
You got 2 rates now.
socks are $5 each. This is a rate, and boots are $20 each. That's another rate. So I'm going to call socks X. I'm going to call boots Y. So because I have 2 rates, again, each kind of indicates the rate. Then I'm going to go ahead and say 5x plus quantity y equals, and we don't know, or we do know how much she has to spend. How much does she have to spend? How much can she spend? $75.
So however much she has to spend is what's it
The total.
Because we're done right now, right?
Yeah, for in the equation. Because what we're saying is, this right here tells us how much money she spends on socks. This tells us how much money she spends on boots. So together, she can spend up to 75. Yes.
Will these questions be on the test?
What's that?
Will these questions be on the
Yeah, you'll have word problems on your test.
test?
There won't be a bunch of them, but word problems don't go away. All right, so then it asks, how many pairs of socks can Gabby afford if she buys 2 pairs of boots? Okay. So it says, how many pairs of socks? Which one represents socks, X or Y?
No, X.
X, good. So they're asking how many. We don't know X.
But if she
buys 2 pairs of
she's
boots,
spending $40.
so we have
She has 35.
2 for Y. So we're just going to go and plug in 2 for Y and see what we get for X.
Wait, why'd you do 2?
It says 2 pairs of boots. So it's $20 for each pair. Maybe we should say boots are $20 each pair. You don't buy just one boot in the store, right? They typically come together. I don't think I've ever seen them sold individually. Although some people have different size feet, so I don't know what they do.
You only have one of them.
You haven't heard of that? Where it's like one foot, like your left foot might be a size 8 and your right foot's a size 9. There are some people. Okay. So we don't know x, we're going to leave that alone. But I do know that y is 2.
So 40.
So now we just solve for x. So we have 5x.
Wait, can't you just do that like in mental math on stuff?
Yeah. Honestly, this one would be too bad eventually.
Because you get 40, she spends 40 in 2 boots,
Mhm.
and then she's able to buy 7 pairs of socks.
So it's going to subtract 40 from both sides.
And she's up to 35, and she's a times 5.
Yep. So 5x equals 35. So divide by our 5. We get x is 7. And what again does x represent?
Socks, so she's able to
7
buy 7.
pairs of socks. Alright. That's a pretty good, you need more socks than boots. That's 1 pair of socks for each day of the week. Alright, questions on number 2? So we've got Tom and his truck. So Tom's truck can hold a total weight of 500 kilograms. If each bag of cement weighs 40 kilograms, and each bag of sand weighs 20 kilograms, write an equation that models the situation. Alright,
Where do we
so we've got our total weight. That's not a rate, it's just saying how much in total. And it says each bag of cement is 40, and each bag of sand is 20. So we've got 2 eaches, which means 2 rates. I'm going to go ahead and call the first one cement. I'm going to say that's x. And that will be sand be y. So we've got 2 rates. So we're going to do our standard form. So I have, writing the equations, I have 40x, and then sand we called y, so plus 20y. And the total amount the truck can hold is 5.
When it comes to, like, when you have to do it in standard form and they're whole numbers, it's much easier. Because all you do is put the numbers together.
Yep. Does anyone know how many kilograms are in, or like how many pounds of kilograms? Is it like 2.2 or something like that? It's about double, right? So 500 kilograms is about what I've got is 1,100 pounds, 1,000 pounds.
How many bags?
That could hold a lot.
10 bags of sand.
Okay, so how many bags of sand can he load in a truck if he loads 10 bags of cement? All right. So sand was X or Y?
That's why.
We called sand Y, so I don't know how many, that's what we're trying to find out. And cement, there's 10 of them, so we know X is 10. Okay, so now we just plug and chug. 40 times 10
It's
plus
400.
20y is 500. So we get 400 plus 20y is 500. And again, I'm just solving at this point. So minus 400 minus 500. Y equals 500 minus 400.
100, and then 20 times 5 would be 100, so he can hold 5 bags.
And then divide by 20. And I get y is 5. And again, y represents bags of sand, so 5 bags of sand. I like this next one. Questions on number 3? Yes.
If we can do the math mentally, do we have to write all that out?
What I would like you to do is you need to have the equation and then at least plug in and then you can do your mental math from there. So that way I know that you know what you have to do is plug in 10, but then if you're able to do the mental math, you can answer it. All right, Mr. Suave Eduardo here. Eduardo wants to buy some roses for his girlfriend. Why we didn't have an Eduardo over here? The roses are $1.75 each, and the vase is $3.25. Write a linear equation to model the situation. So we're going to write an equation. They technically told you what Well, they didn't tell you which one to use, but they told us it's going to be one of our slope interceptor standard form. All right, so he's going to buy roses for his girlfriend. It says the roses are $1.75 each, and the vase is $3.25. How many rates do I have here?
You have one, so you're doing the one. And
Yeah.
the two.
We're paying $1.75 for each rose, but we're only buying one vase for all the roses. So we can go ahead and write out y equals 1.75x. So I'm going to let x be roses. And then a flat amount of 3.2. What's that? Okay. And then it says, how many flowers can Eduardo afford if he has $20? How am I supposed to spend $20 on this program? All right. So it says if he has $20. What does flowers represent?
X.
X. So we're trying to find out how many of those. So then what's the $20 represent? Why? Yeah. Why is it saying how much does it cost? It's $1.75 for each flower plus the vase. That's how much you're going to spend in total. So we have y is 20. Okay, so we're just going to plug it in. So I get 20 equals 1.75x. I don't know that one. Plus 3.25. Okay, definitely want to use your calculator to help you out with these decimals here. I'm just solving for x, so subtract 3.25. That looks like that to be at 16.75. Okay, 16.75 equals 1.75x. 5 by 1.75. And Emma, what did you say x is? 9.57. Okay, now we've got to think about our situation. What does x represent again? Flowers, right? Am I going to buy 0.57 of a flower? No, we ideally the store sells them in a whole flower. So what's the most that he could buy then? 9 flowers, right? He can't buy that 10th one, but he can buy 9 flowers. Say 9.
So when we're left with the decimal, you want us to run?
It depends on the situation. So, like, we can have, if it was talking about money here, I can have $9.57. If we're talking about people, I can't have half of a person go to an amusement park. So you just want to look at the situation and think about whether or not you can have that. Okay, any questions on the front side? Let's go to the back side. All right, our family's having a party. We're eating some good chicken, ground beef. She gives you $40 to spend. At the store, beef costs $4 per pound. And chicken costs $3 per pound. Oh, 2 rates.
4x.
I'm going to call my beef X, my chicken, I'm going to call Y. 2 rates, standard form. 4x plus 3y equals, how much do we have total to spend? $40. Okay. How many pounds of ground beef can you buy if you buy 8 pounds of chicken? So beef was X. I don't know how much beef, but they told us we have 8 pounds of chicken, so we do 5. And then we just pick one and jump. 4, I don't know that, so 4x. Plus 3 times 8 is 40. What's 3 times 8? I heard mumblings, but I didn't understand. 24? 3 times 8 is 24? Oh, you mean like once you move it over. Okay, so subtract 24. So you guys were ahead of me there. 4x equals 16. Divided by 4 gives us 4. And what does x represent again? beef. 4 pounds of beef. What's your question?
So you got rid of your Y, and you subtracted from the total, right?
If the total supply was 8, so plug that in, and then we're just solving for x.
What if, would we ever get a decimal as
Will we ever get a decimal? It's possible to get a decimal. Yeah.
X?
Yeah, it's possible. Oftentimes, when we're dealing with money, we'll get decimals.
But we can't have an, if we're doing standard form, we can't have a decimal, right?
You could possibly. Again, depends what it's representing. So, like for this one, I would say that you could buy a partial pound of beef.
Yeah.
But again, if we're talking about like the next one's talking about tomatoes, I can't buy a half of it. I don't think I've ever seen a tomato slice in half of this one. So again, just think about what the number represents. Can I have that in partial pounds?
But I thought for standard form you couldn't have decimal.
Oh, so
for X, right?
when we're talking about like the equation setup, you can't have decimals or fractions. But our rates here, so when we're solving them, when we're getting our actual x value and y values, those can be decimals and fractions. Standard form, it's talking about the coefficients, the numbers in front of x. All right, I want you guys to go and try number 6 here. Your dad realized there are no tomatoes and no lettuce, so you have to go back to this. All right, so then try number 6. Set up your equation and find how many bags of lettuce can you buy if you purchase 2 tomatoes. Feel free to work with those around you. I want to give you a chance to try it on your own, and then we'll come back together to go over it.
Purchase.
Now, let's see. Oh, yeah, it is. There you go.
So I put the numbers, I plugged them in, I got 4, right? So that's, do we divide Y by that?
Yeah, you divide that. Well, you divide this. I think what you said was incorrect. Actually, what you meant was correct.
Alright.
Yeah, you're doing it correct.
So then it would be Y equals 4. We write it as
All right, so for number 6 here, how many rates did we have? 2, good. Tomatoes are 2 each, and bags of lettuce are 150 each, or per, which means that it's a rate. And we have a total of $10. All right, so I'm going to go and call tomatoes X, lettuce Y. So my equation would be 2x plus $1.50 per y equals a total of 10. And it says how many bags of lettuce, and lettuce is y, so y equals, we don't know. You purchased 2 tomatoes, so x is 2. Okay. 2 times 2 plus 1.50y is 10. So we We get 4 plus 1.50y is 10. Subtract 4, subtract 4. 1.50y equals 6. What do we get for our y value? 4. And again, what does y represent? Bags of lettuce. Make sure you say 4 bags of lettuce. Okay. Questions with that? Okay. So again, word problems, nothing too crazy new here. Yes.
What is the thing that's the equals 10 for 150y equals?
This is a 6. Okay, so, and then we divided by 1.
Aren't you could be in written form, right?
Yeah. What do you mean?
When it, like, for the 7, where it says if she doesn't know, if she does it, you know, I suppose she doesn't know.
Yeah, no. Okay, do we have questions on our word problems here? So 2 rates, standard form, 1 rate, Mr. Y present is supposed to be. I'm going to go and take a look at our mini quiz that you got back and give you some time to work on your review packet. So let's go and take a look at that mini quiz, go over any questions we had with that.
Oh, so the number 8 is 2 separate problems. Okay, what are the 2 separate problems?
Number 8. Yeah, so you'd have 2 different things when you compare your answers in the end. Okay, so let's go and take a look at our mini quiz. And again, just remember your homework is that review packet number 16.